Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes, where today we are going to be taking a look at the new game from Ice Mix, and that is Zoology. And believe it or not, this is a game by Jeffrey CCH. This is from the designer of, believe it or not, Terrorscape. Yes. Now, that couldn't look more different to Terrorscape, could it? There's Terrorscape. Quite terrifying. Not terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Look what they have designed here. This, I must admit, when we seen it at Essen, we had to stop and have a little look at it. And indeed, the wonderful Claudia from Ice Mix, she showed us how to play the game, and we fell in love with it straight away. Now, Ice Mix, Claudia were very kind to give us a copy of this game for us to show you on the channel, so please do bear that in mind. Now, what is this rather cute looking game all about? Well, it's a game for 2 to 6 players, and it's going to take around 30 minutes to play, and it's going to be quite a lightweight game that I think would be enjoyed by everyone in the family. Now, Zoology is an animal deduction game with limited hints. Now, escaped beasts, hidden clues, can you catch them all? The great Encyclopaedia Zoologica has burst open, and every creature from alpaca to platypus is making a break for it. Now, your team of sharp-eyed zoologists must spring into action. Ask the right questions, debate your guesses, and put your animal knowledge to the ultimate test, and return each animal to its rightful place in the encyclopedia before the age of discovery becomes the age of chaos. Now, it's a simple animal deduction game, and it's going to be fun for any age, and it's also competitive and can be played cooperative. So this is very nice indeed. So there we go. That's what the game's about. Let's take a look at how we set up and how we play this rather delightful game. So first things first, we're going to take the primary animal board and we're going to set this into the middle of your play area. Now, this is the primary animal board. Lovely looking animals on there. Pop that into the middle. Now, for your first game, it is recommended that you just use the primary board. But if you are experienced, you may pick one or more secondary animal boards. Here are the secondary animal boards, and these can be added to your primary board. So you could add just this one if you fancied, or you could add this one, which is Lisa's favourite there, because it's got a beaver. And perhaps you could add this one, or you could even add this one, which has got some rather tremendous animals on there. There you go. So you can make the board a little bit more complicated depending on your experience. Now, obviously, combining the boards is going to add more animals to the game. So it's a good idea to search for and introduce those animals to all players, ensuring everyone has a brief knowledge of them. So that's rather interesting, isn't it? So you get to have a little look. What exactly is an alpaca? That is my favourite. I know everything about being a sloth. I do enjoy my mid-afternoon naps. I think perhaps I may be related to a sloth. Now, once you have this set up, now you'll have to excuse me because I do not have much space, but you will give each player one of these card holders, which are all rather nice. So if I've set up a 2-player game, even perhaps let's set up a 3-player game. Give each player one of these card holders, And what we're going to do then is we're going to take the deck of animal cards, and these are going to be based on the chosen animal boards. Now, you're going to take the 16 common animal cards, which would be cards for these, or more dependent on what the board is. And then we're going to shuffle and form a draw deck and place that face down. So here, oh, look at that. Here are all the wonderful cards. Now you can see that these are, and I hadn't noticed this before because I am a little colorblind, but these seem to sort of match the color of the boards. So these are for the primary animals on the boards. And you can see that squirrel, fantastic. So if we were playing with just that board, we would just take those cards. And also, and I can see they've got lovely iconography on each of the extra boards, which is going to allow you to find the corresponding cards and add these to the main deck of cards. And again, just to save some space here, let's just set up the primary board as you would for your first game. So we've got all the animal cards, and we're going to give these a good shuffle, and these cards are lovely quality cards. So give these a good old shuffle, and we're going to pop these down just somewhere in easy reach of players. And now we're going to deal one animal card to each of the players. Now, players must not look at their own cards, and they're going to put them into their card holder so that the cards are going to face the other players so that only they can see what animal card you have. So, and set these to one side. So if I pop these up here, so if this was my card, then what I would do is I would take my card holder and I would pop that into the card holder so that I can't see it, and pop that in front of me so that the other players can see it. Now let me turn that round for you to see. So my card is a hippo, and that's what I'm going to be trying to guess. Each of the players, then they would pop their cards in their hold. So for example, if I just take these card holders away now, so for example, I can see that this player is the horse, this player is a cat, but I don't know what I am. So I know I'm not a cat, and I know I am not a horse. I will be one of the other animals. Now don't forget, you should never look at your own card. And now we're going to shuffle the question cards. Here are the question cards that we're going to use in the game. So we take all of these and of course give these a good old shuffle. And then we're going to deal 3 to each player. And I'll pop these over here. And now we're going to place a supply of guest tokens. And we're going to place these next to the board onto the supply table. Now the game comes with this cute 3D supply table. So here's our supply table. And we're going to place a number of guest tokens. And here are the guest tokens. Little magnifying glasses. Woohoo. And my goodness, these little magnifying glasses, they actually do magnify. Now, I've set up a 3-player game, so I'm going to be placing 12 of these onto the table. And we return any of the other tokens to the game box because they will not be used. Now they do say here that if you are adding 2 or more secondary animal boards into the game, you could consider adding 1 extra guest token for each player in the game into the supply. For instance, adding 6 more of those tokens in a 6-player game, and it'll make the game a little easier. And that is why there are a number of these tokens left over there. So you can do that if you so wish. Now, there are victory point tokens, and we need to keep these in a supply nearby as well. Tokens. So we pop these here. And now the player who visited a zoo last will be the first player. And we place the first player token with compass side face up in front of that player. So if we say we are going to be the first player, so we pop that here. And that's it, we're ready to play. The goal of the game is to collect information and earn victory points by identifying the animal you're holding. And the game is going to be played over multiple rounds, and the first player with 5 or more victory points, they are going to be the winner. So, how do we play the game? Well, beginning with the first player and then taking turns in a clockwise order, we do both of the following. We're going to play a question card and then we are going to replenish. Now, playing one of your question cards. So we'll take a look at your question cards. So these completely at random. Let's have a look, see what I have here. So who has the longest body? Who is the laziest? Who is the most territorial? Now you're going to pick a question card from your hand, reveal it, and then read it out loud. Then all players will provide honest opinions and select one animal from the other players as the best answer. Now you cannot choose your own animal since you cannot see it, and the order in which the players give their opinions does not matter. So perhaps I could ask this question. Who is the most territorial? Now I'm going to say... There's a cat there. Are they territorial compared to horses? That's a tricky one. So I'm going to guess perhaps that the cat is the most territorial, perhaps. Now there is a golden rule here. Now all players may discuss, but you must not mention any animal names, regardless of whether they are shown on the animal board. Instead, you should refer to the players by their names when discussing the animal cards they hold. So I'm going to call this player Bob. So I'm going to say that I think Bob is the most territorial. Now, the horse player, who we shall call Trigger. Trigger's going to look and think, right, there's Bobcat there, and there's Henry here. Henry's got the hippo. So this player may say that Henry is the most territorial, and Bob here, they may say that Henry is the most territorial as well. Now the animal selected by the majority becomes the champion. That's the one with the most votes for this turn. And we place the question card as a reminder in front of the champion. So we would pop this card in front of me here. But if there was a tie, we would simply pop that to one side for everyone to see, indicating that it's a tie. Now, when you're asking the questions on the card, you're free to specify whether the question pertains to a single animal, a particular group of animals, or the entire species. Feel free to explain this or any other distinctions. Now, once we have done that, we're going to do the replenish, and that is simply going to be taking one question card back into your hand there, so you've got back to 3, and you will take one guest token from the supply, and you can keep as many guest tokens as you want, and your turn is now complete, and the game will continue with the next player, again in clockwise order. Now, after every player has completed their first turn, the first player will flip the first player tile to its B side, and from now on all players can make a guess by placing one of their guess tokens on an animal board at any time during the game. In other words, you do not need to wait for your turn in order to make a guess. Now there is another golden rule here. You must not place a guess token on animals held by the other players. So obviously I couldn't guess token down on the horse or onto the cat. Instead, I could think I'm territorial. I wonder. They think I'm the most territorial. Well, I could think, oh, a bear would be quite territorial, wouldn't it? So I might put a guess token on there. Now, other players will verify them whether you are correct. And if you are correct, congratulations, you're going to take 2 victory point tokens, and other players still have a chance of gaining 1 victory point, which I'll come to in a moment. Now, if you're incorrect, we just continue with the game, and the guest token is going to remain on the animal board, indicating that no player is holding that animal in the game. So what if we guess correctly nearly at the same time? Well, in rare cases, players may make a correct guess simultaneously. All those players would take 2 victory point tokens, and then we would proceed to ending the round. And this is the only situation that could lead to a share of victory. Now, second chance now. When a player makes a correct guess, or the last guess token from the supply is taken, the first player shall flip the first player token back to the A side immediately. Now, during this phase, players can only make guesses and cannot play question cards anymore. And beginning with the first player, players are going to take turns making one guess by placing one of their guess tokens, and the player who guesses correctly during this phase is going to gain 1 victory point token. And any players who had already made a correct guess or used up all their guess tokens must pass. And you repeat this process until all players have passed. Now, ending a round. Now, to prepare for the next round, we would return all the guess tokens back to the supply. Each player will ensure that they have 3 question cards in front of them and gather all the question cards revealed on the table to form then a discard pile. And the discard pile shall be reshuffled to form a new deck when the question card deck is running out. Now, you would gather all the animal cards and the draw deck, and we're going to give those a shuffle as we did during the setup, and we're going to give 1 card to each player. And we pass the player token clockwise. And then the next round starts with the new first player and proceeds just like the previous rounds. Ending the game. Once a player reaches 5 or more victory points, the game ends immediately and that player is then declared the winner. Now, a little note about interaction between players. The game is not about bluffing. Players should not intentionally provide false information. Even if your animal is not the champion for that round, there is still valuable information to be found. And if you disagree with another player's judgment on a question, feel free to share your thoughts. Players are encouraged to discuss and review any information they know, whilst trying not to give away too many clues. This balance is part of the fun. You could even fact check after the game. The game does come with a co-op mode, and there is a variant to be used in both competitive and co-op modes for 2 to 3 players. And you even have some achievements there that you can tick off when you play the game in cooperative mode. And rather wonderfully, and I think an essential thing for all board games to come with, we've got a lovely handy little guide on the back of it. So this is a quick start competitive game guide here. So there you have it, Zoology. Now, when we were being shown by Claudia how to play this game looked so wonderful set up on the table, as hopefully perhaps this could give you a little idea of what it could look like. The number of people who stopped to take a look was incredible. And in fact, one person actually stopped and joined in the game with me and Lisa. And another gentleman has stopped as well, and he was offering some advice when we were playing the game. And in fact, I think both gentlemen wandered off afterwards and bought a copy of the game there and then. That's how much they enjoyed it, or thought that's how much their friends and family may enjoy it. And I tell you what, enjoy it we certainly did. This is a cracking little game, a brilliant game for all the family there. And it's quite an educational game as well. There's information on all the cards there. You can look things up after the game. You're going to be discussing all the natures of each of the animals as you're trying to guess what animal you are. This is a tremendously fun game, and one I would highly recommend taking a look at as well. So there you go. That's Zoology from Ice Makes, designed, as I said, by Jeffrey CCH. What a talented person. Woohoo. Well, I do hope you enjoyed taking a look at this game with me. If you did, please consider hitting the old like button, and please also hit that subscribe button too, if you would be so kind, because that would really help to grow the channel. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, and bye for now.